New Zealand in round 4 of the World Rally Championship. I'm Ralph Shaheen, joined this weekend once again by the best co-driver I've ever had, Nicky Grist. Nicky, this event is as dramatic as it is stunning.
Absolutely, Ralph. Cars, equipment, drivers, engineers, mechanics. The whole WRC travels over 12,000 miles from their European bases to get to New Zealand, and we've got 22 fantastic stages based in the North Island with a rally base at Auckland.
Nicky, what is it about these stages that makes this rally so special?
They're just wide open, fast, and it's a real driver's rally. Nearly everybody enjoys the event, as well as the co-drivers, of course.
Just outside the city, the scenery is truly breathtaking. A fitting backdrop for a rally that is without a doubt one of the favorites on the World Rally Championship Tour.
100% from start to finish. It's a great driving event.
It's always a nice rally and good roads.
It's good for everybody.
3 right.
The roads here are great, Ralph. You know, we've got very smooth surfaces, the grip is quite good, and nearly every corner has a great camber on the inside just to help hug the car in on the inside and give the car so much greater speed. It's a real driver's rally.
With 3 events down, and it doesn't get much closer than this. Richard Burns has the narrowest of leads, and this weekend's battle for points certainly should be fierce. Burns has never had a dull moment in New Zealand. He won here in 1996 and had another win back in 2001 that put him on track to take the World Championship that year. His return here last year was a different story. Needing a victory to hold on to his crown, Burns had the lead and was running flat out. His anguish was compounded by the fact that he'd handed the title over to one of his fiercest rivals, Marcus Grönholm. 2003 promises to be another classic battle between the Peugeot teammates, and Richard knows that Grönholm will be his toughest competitor. Marcus agrees.
I expect that if everything goes well for Marcus, that he can win this rally.
We are back here again, and I hope we can win here.
There's another Finn in the 206 this weekend, too. Harry Rovanperä is an expert on this surface, and he's a favorite for the win. It's not all about Peugeot, though. It's Citroën who are leading the manufacturers' battle thanks to 2 wins out of 3 rallies, Monte Carlo for Sebastian Loeb and Turkey for Carlos Sainz. In fact, the only one of their drivers yet to win in Zara is their biggest star, Colin McRae.
It'd be great to do it here. It would be great for the championship position, and also, it's my turn to do it.
But it's not going to be easy. The challenges of New Zealand means that experience counts for everything, and Citroën has none here. But Carlos Sainz has plenty, and he knows it'll be tough.
Here we are with a new car that we need to learn very quickly how to set up for this type of roads. The experience for us is important, but the team is the first time it's coming here, so we're still learning a lot from the car.
It's quite a relaxed atmosphere in the Subaru camp. Both Tommy Mäkinen and Petter Solberg could get a good result here, and their confidence in this team is growing.
I feel good, I feel great. It's the same as Turkey, I have no problem. The car works good, and I'm in top form, so hopefully we can get a very good result.
Also looking for a good result are Ford's Marco Martin and Francois Duval. This weekend is the first outing of their new car, the Ford Focus RS03. It's not like any other car in the WRC.
I think the name Focus is the only thing carried over. The rest is almost new.
Left, right, to 3 minus, here.
I can't wait for the rally to start.
Skoda have unveiled plans to replace the Octavia with the smaller, more agile Fabia later in the season. The Czech team is making a statement. They're here to stay. Good news for Tony Gardemeister and Didier Auriol. There hasn't been much to celebrate at Hyundai recently. A lack of testing has taken its toll, and with just 3 points, the team is buried in the chase for the championship. Freddie Loix and Armin Schwartz will be hoping engine modifications will end the points drought. Finally, Mitsubishi are making an appearance here in New Zealand. They're taking most of the year off to develop the Lancer. Nicky, as we get ready for day number 1, who do you think could be the guys to beat?
I think it's going to be Marcus Grönholm without a doubt. The guy has done 3 runs, that's all on the shakedown. The guy is so full of confidence, it's unreal.
We pay you all that money to be a big dollar analyst, and you come with Marcus Grunholm?
He's so laid back, he's almost falling over. He's going to be the man.
It's obvious, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, well, the championship leader, Richard Burns, will be leading the way as day one begins. But as we've said, he's got lots to prove. Stay with us right here on Speed Channel, the WRC, round 4 from New Zealand, coming up. Early Friday morning and the moment of truth has arrived. It's been raining, but that's good news for Richard Burns as the teams prepare to attack New Zealand here on day one.
Richard, you'd hope for a bit of rain this morning. You've got it. Is it enough?
We have to wait and see through all these 3 stages. My initial impression is that there's still a lot of loose at the side. I hope it rains a little bit more.
The first 2 stages are New Zealand classics. The first one is Batley, and that's followed by 6 miles of Waipu Gorge. Nikki, what's so special about these sections of road?
Let's look at the opening test courtesy of Virtual Spectator. This particular one is quick at the start with a twisty section in the middle and then finishes very fast over crests. The drivers will have to be awake if they're going to set a quick time in here. The road conditions are generally a lot better this year. There's a lot less gravel on the surfaces and mostly a lot wider, and I think a lot of stage records will be beaten.
Now Richard Burns is going to be the first one out, and that's why the rain is such a blessing here today, Nikki. If the gravel was dry, he'd have the job of cleaning the loose stones off the racing line, but with wet conditions and the road being soft, the stones will sink in. That should give him an advantage, shouldn't it?
It should most definitely. I think his heart was in his mouth when he started these first stages and just praying that it's all going to go his way. It's still going to be difficult for him, Ralph. He's up against it still, running first on the road. He's just hoping that in this case he can lessen the damage.
But if it had been dry, how much time would he have lost compared to now having it a little bit wet and he's not having to sweep the road?
Well, in comparison to somebody like Marcus Grunholm, who's 6 car on the road today, he would be losing at least 1 second per kilometre. That's night and day.
So he would be buried basically at the end of this stage.
Most definitely. But Robin Perro, on the other hand, he's 15th car. He'd probably gain up to a minute and a half to, well, 1.5 seconds, sorry, to 2 seconds a kilometre to Richard.
Richard ends up being 5th quickest at the end of stage 1, but quickest at the end of stage 2, something we probably wouldn't have seen had he been sweeping the roads. Now, although Colin McRae's won here 3 times, this is his first taste of New Zealand, of course, in the Citroen, Nikki.
Absolutely, it was difficult for them. They've not been able to test as there's been a ban on testing on long-haul events. So for Citroen, it was going to be very, very difficult for them. The first 3 stages, I'm sure all the drivers were going to do some serious testing.
A little bit of trouble there. When you see Colin fall behind early on in a rally like that, is he able to usually get rid of that right away, or does that haunt him throughout and cause him to push harder?
Well, it's all depending how the team let him drive, really. As you can see here, I mean, the conditions are not great through our in-car shot. You know, he can bounce back. The guy has got the speed without a doubt. It's all depending. But look at him here. He's not enjoying it. Looking at how he's ducking under the windshield to see.
Fogged up windshield, certainly a problem. In the sister car, Carlos Sainz, he suffered the exact same problem, and just like Colin, he doesn't know where the defroster switch is. Remember, they're still getting used to these cars. And something that simple as just knowing where the switches are is really a lot more complicated than it sounds.
It is that, and also they had a problem with the switch. It was a two-way switch, which the drivers didn't realize.
Now here's Marco Martin getting ready to give the Ford Focus his first competitive outing. How much better is this car, Nicky?
It's 80% different to what it was. I mean, it is dramatically better than the old car. You can see that in the performance, and it looks totally different and really radical. Set of chrome rims here, and we'd have some serious bling.
Oh, you're learning.
Absolutely.
I like that. Of course, we got to flame it out, though. We need flames on the car.
Now, the cars worked well. The team have worked well to even get it here, and all they want is a good result.
We're going to turn this Welshman into an American sooner than later. Well, he was second fastest, but it doesn't take a racing genius to figure out who the fastest one was. Of course, that was Marcus Grunholm. The fastest of the Subarus, Petter Solberg, and he's making a run at Marco for second. From the outside, Tony Garnemeister Skoda looks pretty good too.
Yeah, but the guy is anxious to get into this little Fabia. I mean, the car is a lot smaller than this, and I know that the engine is very powerful in this car. Put it into a smaller package, who knows what it'll do.
Now, why haven't they just decided to bring out the Fabi and start running it? I mean, let's face it, Skoda doesn't stand a chance of winning any of these rallies. Why not test it at the race?
I don't think they have the resources to actually build the car. It's look at this poor guy. He's got to drive here without wipers. I mean, that's a real nightmare for him.
Hyundai is hoping to score some points as well. They've done some engine modifications, but the accents are still off the pace. Freddie Loix 40 seconds down on the leader. Armin Schwartz not running much better.
No, they've had some problems. They've got one of the directors from Korea. They don't come very often, but they've arrived here in New Zealand, so they're hoping for a good result. And a little bit wide there, just getting off the line. See how so easy it is to get off the line, and then you just slide wide, come off the throttle.
We're on board with Armin Schwartz right here. Co-driver Manfred Heimer.
It's great character in these roads. Great character. I've sat with this guy, actually. I did a few rallies with Armin. You know, pretty quick.
Oh! Big hit.
He's not enjoying that. No, look at the car.
Fortunately, they both escaped unhurt. The car was perilously close to the side of the road, and Didier Auriol has trouble negotiating the accident scene. Approaching it now as we ride on board the Skoda.
I see the co-driver waving him down there. The car's not very pretty, that's not going anywhere. He's an incredible driver, Didier. Just look how hard he's working on the steering.
This was really a big off. There was a fast right bend and it tightens more than we expected. And we go into the bank, and then from this right bend we were thrown to the other side in a left bend in the bank. And from there on we started to roll, and I don't know, it was heavy. I'm wondering why it not stopped, but it was really fast and heavy.
It's a bit disappointing. I feel very sorry for the team because they worked quite hard, and I mean, after I had a good shakedown and the car felt very good, I was very optimistic that we can have a good result, but that's all over now.
A testament to the durability of these cars, Nicky, how they were able to survive such a big hit. Let's take a look at the difference here between Colin and Marco.
Yeah, with virtual spectator, we can see exactly how much Colin has lost. The windshield was pretty bad. I mean, he couldn't see, he had no visibility, he had a problem with the demister. But here, this is just a short section of the stage. In 9.9 miles, he lost almost 15 seconds to Marco. A dramatic amount.
2 stages down, 20 to go. Marcus Grunholm leads from Marco Martin and Petter Solberg. Now, despite the windshield problems, Carlos Sainz amazingly is still on the top end of the leaderboard. An interesting beginning for the Citroens, to say the least, but will conditions get any better? Stay with us to find out here on Speed. New Zealand Stage 3 is called Brooks. The rain's still pouring, and that's bad when there are plenty of other hazards to contend with. Nicky, let's take a closer look at this section.
Yeah, the majority of the drivers rate this rally as their favourite, and the reason for it, it's the roads. Here's a classic fast and flowing section. As you can see, it's some great landscapes here, and it's one rally that every real rally driver would love to win. The stage ends here a lot quicker with flat out sections and a lot of 5th and 6th gear junctions. There's a popular bridge also at the finish.
Well, despite the bad weather, the crowd still turned out to see rallying's finest in action, and one of the celebrities in the crowd, Peugeot's own Gilles Panizzi here. Now, Nicky, why doesn't this guy get a full season ride yet?
Well, he is classed as a tarmac expert. I mean, the guy eats tarmac for breakfast, but when it comes to gravel, he is improving, and he was here alone to do the recce.
Colin McRae came here determined to take the win and the championship lead, but he's still struggling. Through 9 miles of the stage, he's still not being able to see the road ahead of him. Obviously straining to see through the fogged up windshield. He's losing time and losing his patience. And Nicky, I know you've ridden with him. He's not a friendly guy when he gets frustrated.
I can imagine exactly what he's like here.
The windscreen steamed up right at the start after a puddle, and I couldn't see a thing.
Well, literally nothing, or did it just slow you?
Nothing.
How much time do you think you lost?
I don't know. A lot. 30 seconds.
Carlos Sainz is still suffering as well, but nowhere near as much as his teammate. Despite the impaired visibility, the Spaniard isn't losing as much time, but he isn't setting any records either. He's only 9th quickest on the stage. Nicky, in a situation like this, is there any little tricks of the trade inside the car they can do to help with the visibility?
Other than loosening your belts and trying to clean the screen or demist it yourself, there's nothing.
Is there anything the co-driver can do at this point to make it easier on the driver?
Well, other than doing exactly the same thing, I think you've just got to tell the guy, whoa, just concentrate, keep calm and do the best you can.
Sebastian Loeb's car developed the same problem, but he wasn't fazed by it. He was 4th fastest on the stage. Only Martin, Rovanperä, Solberg, and Grönholm went faster.
As you can see, he does have a little bit more sort of windshield to look through, but the guy is driving exceptionally well. This guy's going to be doing well this year and could pull off a championship.
There's just one Citroen in the top half of the leaderboard, and that's Carlos Sainz down in 8th. Home and dry at the top is still Marcus Grönholm in the Peugeot. Back at service, it's clear that all is not well in the Citroen camp.
I think it's the pilot don't put the anti-fog on the car because I think they don't know exactly how is working, and I don't know. We have to look what the problem.
According to me, I put everything like it should, but in any case, I didn't lose so much time because it was just a few seconds, not much.
Marcus, you must be very, very happy with that confident start.
No, I don't know, happy, but it's still long way. So, but it was a good start.
Richard, 23 seconds down on Grönholm, who's leading now. Was it as bad as you expected running first on the road?
It's been a bit better because the second 2 stages it rained quite heavily in the last half. So the first half we were sliding around quite a lot. The second half, okay, we were sliding around, but with water rather than with the gravel, and of course that stays pretty much the same for everybody. So pretty happy with that.
Marco, second overall. Verdict on the new car?
Yeah, not bad. It looks quite good at the moment. Unfortunately, on the second and third stage we had a bit too much rain, and we tried to make sure we come to the finish because we had one really bad aquaplaning moment, and then we thought it's no point to take too many risks because the car feels good when it's good conditions, so we'll just have to sort of pace ourselves a little bit and understand everything a bit more.
Welcome back to round 4 of the World Rally Championship. Ralph Shaheen along with Nicky Grist here with you from Rally New Zealand. Well, there's still plenty more action to feast your eyes on. But first, let's take a closer look at the perils and the pitfalls of this rally, Nicky.
Yeah, let's ride on board with 2 Peugeot drivers. We've got Richard on the left, is the first car on the road, and in dry conditions he should be sliding around and losing time in the process, but the softer conditions are giving him more grip. On the other hand, Harry on the right is 15th on the road and should have benefited from a cleaner, harder line. But today he is losing out due to the muddier conditions caused by the rain and the passage of the cars ahead of him. Just look how much harder he is working on the steering. It just shows how many factors affect the performance of a car.
Well, the service break is over. Time for the drivers to get back to work. Next up are New Cassidy and Paparoa Station with a combined distance of 20.5 miles. And Marcus Grönholm holds the record on both of them, which were set last year. And of course, everybody will be more than interested in whether or not he can go even faster this year. Nicky, what is it about this guy? It's only his 4th full season. He's already got 2 world championships, a bunch of wins. Is this the greatest rally driver we've ever seen, possibly in the making?
Absolutely. I think he's got a great right foot, but he's also got a good brain, and I think that's what holds him in good stead in all these events.
What is it about him when you watch him behind the wheel of the car that you don't see out of the others?
I think he's just so relaxed and so laid back, and you can see it here. He's so confident.
And the legend in the making beats his own record one more time. It's going to be hard for anybody else to beat that one. Marco Martin still enjoying a pretty good run here in New Zealand. His performance here in the new car is really boosted the team, and they've got to be thrilled with that performance. Petter Solberg's on a charge as well, and he's been eating into Martin's lead. This seems to me, Nicky, to be a pair that are going to be chasing each other for many years to come.
These are the future, absolute future. And I can see it probably more in Petter Solberg at the moment. He really is coming on strong. He's putting in some great performances, but he realizes that a great result comes at the finish and not halfway through a day. And I think he's just out to try and get his championship going here and get a good solid result.
Last year's Rally Great Britain, where these two battled to the finish, really, I think, set the stage and set the tone for how these two are going to be battling each other for years to come.
Yes, absolutely. I think they're two great talents. I can see probably Petter just having the edge at the moment, but for sure we'll be hearing a lot more of the pair of them.
Is that because he did win in Great Britain?
I think he's hungry.
There's the time, and he's right in the hunt again. It's faster, but not enough to take second away from Marco.
Rock or something.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, okay. 6:20. Okay.
Well, this is where Richard Burns crashed out of the rally last year and saw his title hopes go up in smoke. No problems for the Englishman this year. He's 5th overall. And we talk about how great Marcus Grönholm is. Richard Burns thinks he's as good. Is he?
I think he's certainly not enjoyed himself so much in Peugeot.
Tommy Mäkinen's really struggling, and he's feeling sick this weekend as well. Kyle Lindstrom can only support him at this point, I would think.
Yeah, and the poor guy was suffering himself. I think they'd eaten some things a bit dodgy, I believe, the night before.
Well, they're struggling all the way down in 5th place. Ford's Francois Duval on board with him. You can see some of the radical changes to the interior of the car, Nicky.
Yeah, it's totally unrecognizable. Everything's now put down on the floor pan. But if you have a look here, can you see how he's actually used using the gear stick instead of the electronic paddle? He'd run into hydraulic problems. They had to revert to a manual gear change, and you can see how well it's working.
Well, we're also getting a chance to see how well Francois Duval is working. And Nicky, he is the second driver on the team behind Marco Martin. Is he as good, or is there a big gap between the two?
There's a big gap between the two, but the young guy's only in his probably 3rd year of WRC and 1st year really as a proper team driver.
What's the biggest difference between him this year and from what you saw of him last year?
Well, he's out gaining experience. The team have turned around to him, or Malcolm has said to him, listen, I just want you to get out and get experience and get the car at the finish. That's exactly what he's doing.
And last, some good news for Colin McRae. He was 2nd fastest on stage 5, but he has a huge task ahead of him if he's going to try to catch the leaders and make a run for the win. This is how they stand as they head off to service. Grönholm was fastest on both stages and has the overall lead. The big fight is for 2nd, with Martin, Solberg, and Rovanperä separated by a few seconds.
Malcolm, Marco's 2nd overall after 5 stages. Could you have wished for more in New Zealand?
No, I have to say, I mean, it's really gone exceptionally well if you think of the level of experience that Marco's got in this event, plus the road position that he's running. I think it's remarkable. I mean, there's 2 of those stages, for instance, that in the first 5 that he's never done before as well. So I think it's a great lift for the whole team.
For me, it's very important to get points. You know, I'm not going out there trying to, win on the first day. Have to find the pace. And we'll see on Sunday how it goes, but I need points.
What about those last 2 stages?
We did a good run. The first one out of service was quite difficult. It was very dry, so it was cleaning a lot. Then the last one was humid all the way through, so we did a reasonable time there. So it helps, but not much.
Welcome back to our Speed Channel coverage of the Rally New Zealand. Back to stage 6. Although Colin McRae has been struggling so far here in New Zealand, the championship is still close and every point is valuable, which means Colin is forced to push.
4 right, line, right, 30. Right and 6 left minus open.
That sounded nasty. Do you see how he just cut that right-hand corner a little bit? It threw him out and slammed the bank on the left. This could be expensive.
Right and 6 left minus open.
Well, he's going to make it to the end of the stage, but the damage is pretty serious and he's going to be forced to retire.
bounced out a rut and hit the bank on the exit of the corner, and it broke the TCA.
So there's no way you could continue?
No, I mean, not when we got to the end of the stage, but there's another 3 stages to go, so there's no chance.
TCA, of course, the control arm on the suspension. There is still a McRae in the rally. Younger brother Alistair, his WRC Lancer 2002 edition, down in 14th.
He's had a difficult time of it. I mean, with Mitsubishi pulling out of the championship, he's had next to nothing to do. He's done one event in Portugal last week, in a Focus as it happened, just to keep his hand in. But he's only allowed to come to New Zealand purely because there's a young Finnish driver called another Solberg, came with a private deal to run a car, and he persuaded them to come here.
Francois Duval picked up a time penalty for leaving service late. Mechanics had to work hard to repair his gearbox problems, but now his hydraulic system is in trouble. He's down in 16th. Sebastian Loeb, constantly setting top 5 times, was richly rewarded for his efforts. He overtakes Carlos Sainz and finishes the day as the best Citroen in 6th. Harry Rovanperä will be disappointed he isn't right up there with the leaders, but the muddy conditions have held the Finn back, so much so that teammate Richard Burns is breathing down his neck now for 4th. On the penultimate stage of the day, he does it, and the Englishman will be satisfied with a good day's work. Petter Solberg's battle for 2nd will continue in the morning as well. He just couldn't match the pace of Marco Martin, and by the end of the day, the Estonian had put 5 seconds between his Ford and the Subaru. We've seen these two drivers battle it out so many times. Every time it's great to watch. We can expect more here in New Zealand.
The Focus has benefited by having American spec front bumpers, but with modified air vents at the front.
Great, we've got American bumpers in the WRC. Now we just need an American driver. But the man to beat is once again Marcus Grönholm. He's won 7 of the 9 stages and given himself a healthy 38-second lead. And with the order reversed, he'll have the best road position on day 2, making it even tougher for anyone to catch him. 7 stages down, and Marcus Grönholm extends his lead. Martin fends off Solberg, but just look at Richard Burns right there chasing down his teammate Harry Rovanperä for 4th. We're back with stages 8 and 9 right after this, here on the home of the WRC Speed Channel.
Up until Turkey, the Ford Focus rally car was a car that I knew very, very well. But here in New Zealand, they're launching the new evolution of the Focus. It's probably the most radical looking thing out there, and we've got the exclusive chance to have a look at it. From the massive rear spoiler giving extra downforce at high speed, improving the grip on the rear end. But the biggest difference is at the front, with a new extended front bumper, extra cooling ducts, but it's the extra downforce at the front that's also dramatically been improved. One of the problems with last year's car was the weight distribution. There was too much weight at the front. This has been worked on dramatically, but they've also lowered the center of gravity. For this work we can see on the inside. Let's just go and take a look. I should be very familiar with the inside of this car, but looking round it, everything is so totally different. I think from the co-driver's point of view, we're probably not sat any lower, but we're definitely sitting a lot further back, in line almost with this door pillar. The trip meter, which used to be housed up on the dash, is now lowered right down onto the tunnel. The switches as well have moved from the dash, again down onto the tunnel, lowering the center of gravity. This is also new, and it's totally automated. There's no fuses, it's all done by computer. Let's go and have a look what the changes are like over on the driver's side. From the driver's point of view, he is also sat right the way back, again getting the weight further back to where they wanted it last year. The steering has definitely come a long way forward. One thing that's very ingenious, where the Peugeot has an extra gear stick to back them up, they've actually used the handbrake with an extra rod as the backup in case the electronic change fails. That's really clever. Also, I notice where normal pedals actually hinge and pivot at the top, the weight is quite high up. Here they've turned it around so the actual brake pedals, throttle pedals, hinge from the floor, thus getting the weight lower down and lowering the center of gravity. The majority of the weight is under the bonnet. Let's see exactly what they've done here. The most visible thing is where they've moved the radiators and the fans. Although it's very difficult to appreciate, the engine and all its ancillaries are actually 10% lighter than the old car. With so many innovations in this car, For Marco Martin and Ford Motor Company, it's going to be a very interesting weekend.
Nicky, one other thing that's kind of interesting about Ford this year is they've switched to the Michelin tires from Pirelli, also to try to get themselves closer to their competition. How much of a factor has that been this year?
I think it's going to be more of a factor on the tarmac events where normally Pirelli have struggled a little.
Now trying to catch Martin's focus is the Subaru of Petter Solberg. Let's see if Petter can reel him in here on stage 9.
Bridge and 2 right fast tightens. Opens 40.
I just like the way that Petter just sits there with his mouth open like he's swallowing flies. But the guy's trying hard here. You can see it. You can see that clean line there. He's just, again, trying to keep it on there.
Keep left over crest and big cut for right first half long.
1/10 of a second faster. Believe it or not, it's not enough. This battle is far from over. Now, even though Richard Burns currently leads the driver points and Marcus Grönholm looks unbeatable, Colin McRae still thinks Sebastian Loeb, who we see here, could win the World Championship. You buy that?
Absolutely. He's got great speed on gravel now, but also with so many tarmac events at the end of the year, who knows?
Peugeot teammates Richard Burns and Harry Robert in a fierce fight for 4th. And Peugeot announced this week they've got a new team manager. Nick Gulino replaces Francois Chatriot, and Gulino comes over from Grifoni, which does a lot of the customer 206s. How does this affect them?
I think it's a better working relationship, possibly, and it's an Italian, not a French guy.
Nearly 3.5 seconds quicker. Richard has done it. He takes over 4th, and it looks like Marcus Grönholm still the fastest of them all.
I have done really 100% now, maximum, and sometimes the Martin is very close, so it will be good.
The car's been fantastic, really. It's great fun to drive and no problems at all, and they definitely lost less time than we expected on the first day because they're 4th on the road and we expected to lose time, but it's not bad.
You've stuck to your game plan today, not to push too hard.
No. I need to get points. That's the most important thing for me. I don't like to be behind in the championship.
7 stage wins on day 1 helps to give Marcus Grönholm over 38 seconds worth of a lead over Martin. Solberg and Burns also are fighting for podium positions. Now, despite his illness, Tommy Mäkinen still finishes 7th above Carlos Sainz. Nicky, what are your feelings on the running of day 1?
What an unusual first day. You know, we'll talk about Citroën first and my old mate Colin. I mean, it all started to go wrong. I could see him getting upset when the screen missed it up, and then after a visit to service and a bit of a row off the team boss, I mean, I could see he was not happy. The very next stage, off he goes. Typical Colin McRae as far as I could see. I mean, Ford did a wonderful job with this new car. I mean, I really didn't expect them to perform the way they did. I don't think the team did, but there was all smiles in the Ford camp, and well done, Marco Martin. But the first day was all about Marcus Grönholm and Peugeot yet again. They've done a great job. But tomorrow we've got a really long day. It's 150 Ks of stages, the longest of the rally, and an absolute belter, a 59-kilometre test, the longest in the WRC. It certainly is not over yet, but Marcus looks like he's in control.
Grönholm may be in control, Nicky, but the new Focus is looking strong, as you said. Ken Martin pushed to the front. Day 2 begins when we return here on Speed Channel.
Day 1 saw the laid-back Marcus Grönholm storm ahead of the rest of the field, winning 7 stages out of 9, pretty much as most of us had expected he would. Richard Burns finished 4th overall, which was better than he'd expected, but the really exciting battle now is between Marco Martin in 2nd place and Petter Solberg in 3rd. The pace of this brand new Ford Focus has surprised everyone, not least the drivers and the team bosses themselves. And Marco Martin says he can push really hard in the car because he has so much confidence in it. Petter Solberg is just 5.5 seconds behind Marco, so we are set for a truly exciting day of rallying, particularly because the first stage of today is in fact the longest of the entire World Rally Championship.
Well, Nicky, that's Penny's take. What do you think about what lies ahead for the WRC drivers today?
Based around the service park at Paparoa, there's 5 gravel stages, and the stage has the toughest start imaginable. At 36 miles, Parahi is the longest stage in the World Championship, as I said earlier, but it's caught drivers out in the past. With virtual spectator, here's the opening test of leg 2. It's an absolute belter and really makes the drivers sweat. There's a good mixture of fast and flowing to really twisty sections. Also a bit of tarmac to break it all up. Towards the end, when the tyres are getting worn, there's a demanding section, and the crews will be desperate to see the finish. If somebody's on a real charge, it's possible to take a great chunk of time.
At the starting line, getting ready to go, is Didier Auriol. His assault on this monster stage about to begin in the Skoda Octavia. Away he goes, and actually as big and as slow as this car might be compared to the rest, Skoda has actually scored points on every round so far this year.
Well, it's testament to how strong the thing is. I mean, it certainly has been very strong on the rougher events, and it's very reliable.
Unfortunately today, Didier dealing with some handling problems. Carlos Sainz started the stage, the standard 2 minutes behind Auriol. It's the Spaniard's birthday today, and he's hoping to reward himself with some good times and possibly climb back up the leaderboard. Now you can see he's starting to close in on Didier. We talked about those handling problems. What do you do in this situation, Nicky?
Well, you've got to be careful you don't miss the line on a corner, but you know, he's got no option. He's got to get to the end of the stage, and the drivers behind have to sort it out. Whoa. Obviously got caught out there in the dust, missed his line exactly like I said he shouldn't be doing. It looks like the only way down, or the way out, is down, and he's through that fence. I've been there, done that with Colin before. I remember Safari one year. You know, you feel sorry for the guys now.
No such problems for Sebastian Loeb, even though he doesn't have any experience here at the Rally New Zealand. He's running faster than his teammates. He's 6th overall. Sheer length of this stage starting to take its toll on Tommy Mackin. Remember, he's not feeling very well, as well as the fact that the anti-deflation mousse in the tires is breaking up. That starts to give the wheel a serious vibration, making him work twice as hard, and you can see it in his face. Robin Parrott disappointed with his finish yesterday. He was 5th, but catching teammate Richard Burns. Now Burns has another battle on his mind. He's thinking about Petter Solberg, who's only 12 seconds ahead of him. He might just be able to pull it off. It's been a pretty tough season so far for Petter Solberg, but New Zealand's looking a lot better, but he's got to deal with Richard Burns here. Stay with us to find out how it ends up. It's a relaxed-looking Petter Solberg who attacks stage 10. His mind totally focused on the Ford and Marco Martin in 2nd place. The difference between them is just 5 seconds. The stage, 36 miles in length, so it's possible he can make the time up.
Crest opens 18. Line into Slippy, 6 left minus tightens, left plus half.
A little bit different look there at the beginning of the stage, Nicky. The mouth not wide open on Petter, not exactly focused at that point. Just
starting off. Oh, he's not happy here. But you can see he's working hard. You see how hard the harder he works, the wider his mouth is.
Well, unfortunately, he picks up a puncture. The tire starts to deflate, and so does the driver's confidence. No need for Petter to look at the timesheets. He knows he's lost a lot of time. Marco Martin is unaware of Solberg's problems. He's having a great run, and so far the new car has been flawless.
150.
But then just 2 miles into the stage, he had to change to the manual gear shift system, which isn't as efficient as the electronic one.
80, 6 minus left over crest.
To make matters worse, he's got 34 miles of the stage yet to go.
24 left.
Marco will hold on to 2nd, but there's going to be a lot of work for the Ford mechanics back at service.
Clear as stage, we've had manual gear change for 55 kilometers and no diffs.
Okay, copy, Dave.
The longest stage of the championship should be one of the hardest, but not for Marcus Grunholm. He's just cruising. As he turns in the next straight, look out for the pit board. See it there on the right? Gives him the split time. The team are letting him know he's having another great run. Looks like he's happy with what he sees, and once again, the reigning world champ is the quickest.
Didier, you don't look happy. What happened?
We stopped try to stop for Carlos behind. We stopped, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds. to try to don't put him too much dust, but I don't see him arrive, so I don't know.
Yes, we were in the dust of the day. I think he has a problem or something, and in a moment the dust disappeared, and I tried to push hard to come back, and took a bump and flipped me over. Just a little bit off the road, but couldn't come back, so I have to find a long way to come back to the road.
Petter, it looks like you've worn the tyres out completely. How was that stage?
I went very well for a while, and then we had a broken round tire the last 5 kilometers. Lost too much time. Terrible.
Nicky, what about Marco?
Well, shortly after the start of 10, Marco loses the electronic gear change, and at that point he disconnects the handbrake to use the lever as a gear stick. There, as you can see, he loses little time, which was testimony to the car's design. Now he has to lift off the throttle on every gear change, losing valuable time. He pulls back a little initially, but in 34 miles he lost 14 seconds to a chasing Burns, who's trying to take his second place.
This is how they stand after stage 10. Grunholm leads over Martin, Burns, and Solberg. At the bottom of the table, another Solberg, but Christian, who is no relation to Petter, is in a privateer Mitsubishi. Didier Auriol suffered on stage 10, but not as much as Carlos Sainz, who's dropped right out of sight. Back at service, the Citroen mechanics frantically work on Carlos Sainz's car. They have just 20 minutes to repair the damage before any time penalties are incurred. And of course, the clock is ticking. Nicky, that means this has to be well thought out and orchestrated.
Yeah, most definitely. The engineer will have been at the arrival control where Carlos had to wait before he checked in. They knew exactly what parts are needed, and they would have prepared each mechanic and all the parts ready to go.
Did you make it out in time?
We changed about 80% of the system yesterday, and we dropped 2 minutes penalty. But the boys did a sort of another session last night, practice run at the whole job. So we're quite confident that hopefully now this time we can do the whole job and also do it in the time scale as well.
The confidence might be high, but it looks like a nervous Marco Martin who is watching. The Estonian wants to hold on to that second place. Back at Citroen, Carlos's car has been repaired successfully, but the mechanics weren't able to finish the job in the allocated time, and the Spaniard picks up a penalty. The work continues over at Ford while team boss Malcolm Wilson reflects.
These problems aside, you must be very happy with the performance of the new Focus.
I'm absolutely delighted. I think Christian and his team have done an incredible job, and to come here and be this competitive, still 9 second, with the amount of experience that Marco's got on this event, I mean, I think it's incredible.
A tremendous job by the Ford mechanics. Marco's out on time, Nicky.
Yeah, great job. They'd learned from the problems Duval had yesterday. They've replaced all hydraulics and all the electronics with the car.
The longest stage of the tour takes its toll after the break. More drama from day 2 of the WRC Rally New Zealand. Welcome back to Rally New Zealand, the 4th round of the 2003 World Rally Championship. I'm Ralph Shaheen, joined by Nicky Grist, and an all-on-board look now at stage 11. First up, we're going to go on board with one of the Skodas and Tony Gardemeister.
On these big and fast stages, the power of this car really helps a lot, Ralph, but the size of it when you go into corners, it's a big car to throw around, and that's more or less the car's Achilles heel at the moment.
Stage is a little bit more wide here as well in New Zealand, so it makes it a little bit easier to navigate that big car around.
You're absolutely right, Ralph, and on this long, fast section, it'll be suiting this high-powered engine in the Skoda.
Next up, Freddie Loix, and Freddie has said that the development of the Hyundai has made the car more predictable in the handling department.
It has. They've got some new engine mods to give them some more power. I mean, they're hoping for better, but they always seem to be there, but never thereabouts. And Freddie drives well. He sets some great times, but then more often than not, he normally goes off. He was only 11th fastest on this stage.
Voor die Propecia even links, om 50. Even rechts onder een 2 min, links 80 laden in.
Richard Burns is next, and how tough is it on Richard mentally that Marcus Grönholm has said he isn't even trying yet this year?
Very frustrating for Richard. It seems that, you know, when Marcus is not there, he's a different guy and he drives exceptionally well. But I think the French team and a mixture of the French team and Marcus Grönholm just seems to hold him back a fair bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in a different team in the near future. Although he does manage a 4th fastest here, and 11 seconds though behind the fastest car, Marco Martin.
A lot of rumors where our next guy, Petter Solberg, could be driving next year. What do you think?
I think he's got a place in any team, to be honest. The guy's shown a lot of talent, and he really is coming on song. His experience is getting bigger and better all the time. You know, has a great run, certainly on the first day, and looking to improve.
Richard Burns, Panizzi, Rovanpera, Alistair McRae, Lloyd Schwartz, Colin, Carlos, and Didier Auriol, all contracts up at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market. I think these guys are going to have to accept a lot less money.
And finally, Marcus Grönholm. And one thing when you watch him, Nicky, he seems to really put the heat on early on in the rally and then makes everybody chase him all weekend long.
Yeah, well, he controls it from there. Then they're really struggling to keep up. I mean, that's the way it is. But somehow you always get fed up of talking about Marcus Grönholm in this position, first overall. But that's how good the guy really is.
At stage 11 from the eyes of the competitors. Up next, Nicky's going to break down a few tricky stages. Stay with us here on Speed Channel. It's 11:30 when the crews arrive to tackle the next 2 stages, and they're hoping the day's dramas are behind them. But with over 18 competitive miles between now and the next service, Nicky, no one can really feel all that safe.
Well, typical of this afternoon stages, 12 is mostly very fast with some flat-out crests and junctions where the line is absolutely critical. There's a demanding middle section, and this road is over a hill with tricky crests and drops to catch out a wrong line. It will be this section that will give the crews a fast time on this stage, Ralph. This next square right is a popular vantage point with spectators, and after a square junction left, it is virtually straight line and fast to the finish.
One of the first cars onto the stage is Tony Gardemeister. Didier Auriol's problems on the previous stage means he's now the leading Skoda, but he's just out of the driver's points. Right behind Gardemeister is the Hyundai Accent of Freddie Loix. Seems the team's engine modifications aren't making a dramatic improvement to the performance. Freddie is over 4 minutes down to the leaders. Harry Rovanpera has a new target, and it's the Subaru of Petter Solberg. The Finn is breathing down the neck of the Norwegian and pushing hard to take that 4th place away. Because of his earlier puncture problems, it's very possible that that could happen. Petter is just 3 seconds ahead of the Peugeot. This is really going to force him to push, Nicky.
He's going to have to go for it, without a doubt. The rally's not over yet.
Repeat in line into 4 left tighten, 16.
You can see the target time on the right.
40. 6 left plus 15. 5 right minus tightens, opens extra long.
And Petter loses it to the Finn. He's 5th overall now. Richard Burns has opened up a comfortable gap between himself and Rovanpera. For the moment, at least, he's safe in 3rd.
100, flat right to flat right in. 60.
Nicky, how do you think Richard's taking his approach to this stage?
Try as hard as he can, keep the car in as straight a line as possible and keep it on that clean line. It looks exactly, saying that, I'll take that back. But trying hard, you can definitely see it.
Marco Martin's out of the service and determined to hold on to his 2nd place. Nerves on edge, though, as he waits to see if the service repairs have been successful. How tricky is that when you first go out after major repairs like that?
The car is fixed. As long as he's happy with it on the road section, he's up for the fight.
Well, we know what Richard has run. Marco wants to match it. In fact, he beats it and lays down the challenge to this guy, Marcus Grönholm. Is that really much of a challenge?
Well, for everybody else, it's a challenge to catch him. For him, I would say he could do it easily. This is a great stage, but on these short stages, and this one a little bit tricky in places, it's very easy to lose the rally, not win it.
But one thing, that was a great shot there over that crest, shows how hard the guy is trying. But Peugeot really have been shaken by this new Focus, and I think Propecia has more or less told his guys to go back to the drawing board and look a little closer at their new car.
You know, you can't buy a Peugeot 206 like this for the road over here, but you can get a WRC replica Peugeot scooter, Speed Fight 50 available, painted up just like the WRC 206.
Somehow I don't think Marcus Grunham's going to be as fast on one of those in the stage.
He'd still be the fastest one on a scooter though, wouldn't he? It might not be as fast, but he'd be the fastest. And you can see just how good Marco Martin's time really was. Marcus really having to push to beat him. And he can't. Great run from Marco Martin in the Ford. Not a whole lot of trouble though for Marcus Grunholm. He still hangs on to the overall lead, which is now over a minute. Marco finds himself in a Peugeot sandwich, and Solberg slipped down to 5th position on the leaderboard.
Taking time out of Richard on the last 2 stages. You confident you can keep him behind you?
Yeah, it seems like everything's working all right at the moment, so should be okay.
So obviously no gremlins now, they're all fixed at the last service.
Sorry?
There's no problems with the car now, they're all fixed in the last service.
Yeah, our mechanics did a good job on last service, no time penalties, and car is perfect again, so it's good.
So what are you doing now? Are you easing off because you've got such a healthy lead, or are you still driving as fast as you can?
Okay, no risk, but still I'm going fast, and I am trying to keep the same pace.
Stages 13 and 14 are New Zealand's monster 36-mile stage, cut into 2. The first is Pararahi, and it's 15.5 miles long. A lot to cross fingers that this second run through has a lot less drama than the first time. Sebastian Loeb really starting to find his stride in the Citroen. Remember, he doesn't have a whole lot of experience here in New Zealand, but it's not really showing, Nicky.
I know, if you've got good talent and you're quick, it doesn't matter where you are.
And Sebastian is determined to catch this man, 5th place Petter Solberg, who is determined to stop his slide down the leaderboard. He's really starting to push.
20.
The sad thing about this incident, they slid into the ditch the first time round. Phil Mills at the stage start said, be careful of that first junction, and this is what happens. He gets slid into a ditch and stuck.
Switch the anti-lag off, yeah.
Lucky for spectators.
Okay, just really settle down now. Keep left of a small crest.
Yeah, that
16.
just shows, just tell him, don't get all that time back at once.
Marco Martin really has a Ford humming along, aiming for his 3rd consecutive stage win.
150 crest and easy left. 50 crest. 130 crest down.
At the end of the stage, it's confirmed he is the fastest so far. But there's that Marcus Grunholm guy yet to come.
Don't hold your breath, Ralph. Don't hold your breath.
Is there any chink in this man's armor these days?
Not really, not really. The guy's so in control, and everybody knows it. He's so confident here. He's told everybody, why is it you always do this to me? When I open my mouth, this doesn't happen. Okay, a very silly little off in fairness, just a little bit too quick, tough to bank. Let's just listen to it.
Help, help, help!
This is what he told me after the rally. He said, the spectators are not as professional as they are in Finland.
Professional spectators, huh?
He said they had to wait a long time to get it back on its wheels.
Amazing how quick he has it going again.
Yes, I mean, the car was, it's not a problem for the car. That was only a slight knock, but away he goes. You know, the car is obviously exceptionally strong. Something like that can take it. But look, it looks like the only thing they've lost here is the glass on the co-driver's side. A little bit lucky.
Truly remarkable, and even despite those dramas, there's no real changes at the top, but Marco is cutting into the lead of Grunholm, and if he keeps on winning stages, who knows what could happen. Stage 14 is known as Ararua. Harry Rovanperä is the first of the 3 Peugeots to venture into the 19 miles. There's talk that we might even see another Peugeot coming, possibly even a 307.
Well, they don't really know what they're going to use, and I think it's as much down to marketing as it is engineering at the moment. It's whatever fits the package, and then the marketing strategy.
Oh, a big hit.
That's not nice. That's not nice, yeah. You can see he's hurt there. He's not happy with that at all.
I feel his tires is almost finished, and lose a little bit line in soft gravel and never coming back, and that happens.
Let's go back and take another look at that, Nicky.
It looked to me like he just went a bit too deep into the corner. He just gets onto the soft stuff on the outside. Yeah, you see, he's just... Yeah, it's too sideways there, onto the soft stuff. Broadside, but he's going off. There's nothing he can do here, Ralph. And do you know what? This guy is so desperate to win. I know he can do it, but he's trying to make it happen instead of just driving.
Next through the stage, it's Richard Burns with Rovanperä off his tail now. Third place is looking pretty safe because Petter Solberg's over 40 seconds behind Richard.
Stay in line.
Petter's had some problems, one of them being a vibration. Is that the Moose?
It is. You've got the anti-deflation. It just breaks in half and causes serious out-of-balance vibration in the wheels.
60, line into cut at 2 right tightens. Opens.
Now, if all goes according to plan for Marco Martin, he will start the final day of the rally in second.
6 minus
on board now with Marco.
It's just stopped.
Yeah. Exhaust temperature.
I have to get out. I have to get out with an arrow. That's a dangerous place to stop.
We were having good fun, so I wanted to do more stages, but okay, at least we showed that our new car is very competitive, and we still need to sort out some problems, but I'm sure the future looks good.
Nicky with Rovanperä and Martin both out, and that's going to shake things up a little bit.
It really is. It's made the top of the leaderboard more or less stable, but the problem here with the engine on Marco's car, it was unfortunately a stone that got into the cam belt and split the cam belt. The engine was fine, but just nothing to drive those cams.
We want to go on the podium, but we will see. See you tomorrow.
Finishing the day in third, though, you must be satisfied yet again.
Yeah, okay, it was good. It's a shame we can't fight. Shame we can't fight a little bit harder at the moment, because I can't do anything when I can't slow down, I'm afraid.
How was that stage for you?
It was okay, but I rolled in the stage before.
Do you feel you can win this rally tomorrow?
Yeah, no problem.
Only when you're as strong as Marcus Grönholm can you laugh after flipping your car. After 14 stages, he leads over his teammate Burns. Now, Tommi Mäkinen could have been lying in fifth, but he was caught speeding on a road section and was given a 5-minute time penalty, so he's out of the points. Nicky?
What an incredible afternoon we've had. A massive incident. I don't think we've had a day like this in years. Ford, mixed emotions. I think they're a little disappointed that Marco's still not in the thick of it fighting for the lead, but they're so delighted that their car's been so competitive. They've still got one car in, and I'm sure that tomorrow they'll be doing some testing with Duval. For Subaru and Petter Solberg, I think he's a little fed up that he lost those vital seconds with tyre problems, but he's there in third place. It's reasonably comfortable, and I think he just wants to get some points on the board, so he says. And, well, Tommi Mäkinen, who can say he's lost 5 minutes penalty been awarded to him because he did 99 in a 50. The police tried to stop him and he gave him a certain hand feature and drove off. I mean, that's typical Finn and typical Tommi Mäkinen. Maybe you can say he deserved the 5-minute penalty, but there you go. But of course, yet again, it's Peugeot. They had a great day. Burns has had a solid drive. He's there in second place, and I think he's deserved it. Marcus Grönholm, very, very lucky, and he admitted that himself, although he's a one guy who says he's not lucky, but he was definitely lucky today. But then Harry Rovanperä, on the other hand, he's had an absolute nightmare and an absolute monster shunt. I mean, he certainly wouldn't like to be in it. Tomorrow is 115 kilometers of stages. They still got to keep the pressure on, although there's nothing really going to happen at the top of the leaderboard. But you just never know in rallying. Let's wait until tomorrow afternoon and we'll see exactly what the result is.
For all your racing information, make sure you catch Speed News. It's NASCAR edition at 7 p.m. and Speed News Sunday at 7:30. Today is a climax to an event that's been action-packed and full of surprises, and day 3 should be no exception.
From the rally's base at Auckland, we travel 50 miles south to Te Kawata, the service area. We've got 2 big stages to the left of the map, which are the real crucial stages of the day. And then to the right, we've got 2 stages repeated. It should be a cruise.
There's been plenty of attrition. First out was Armin Schwartz. His Hyundai rolled. Also out on day 1 was superstar Colin McRae. First he had problems with visibility when his windshield fogged up in the rain. Then he hit a bank, damaging the suspension, and the Scots rally was over. Carlos Sainz is still in it, but he's way down the leaderboard.
Yeah, you see that he just clipped that inside of that right hand. It just bounced him offline and just down the bank. And well, there was no way up but to go down and back up on the road somehow.
Marco Martin made an impressive debut in the brand new Ford Focus. He set 3 fastest stage times and was 2nd place overall. Then disaster struck. The engine ground to a halt, disappointing end, but there's no doubt there's a new force to be reckoned with on the tour. On day 1, Tommy Mäkinen was feeling ill and off the pace. A run-in with the local police got him a ticket and a 5-minute time penalty. He's now down at 9th. Despite some heart-stopping moments, Petter Solberg is the best of the Subarus. He's up in 3rd and on for his first podium place of the season. Richard Burns is in 2nd place, and if he ends the rally there, he'll keep his lead in the Drivers' Championship standings. Rovanpera's retirement was the most spectacular of the rally so far. A huge hit, but both Harry and his co-driver walked away unhurt. The best of the Peugeots belongs to Marcus Grönholm, and Nicky, we're hearing statements out of him like I've never heard before, like, can you win the rally? And he says, yes.
Yeah, I think everybody fears him. All the drivers fear Marcus Grönholm, and I think he's using this to his own advantage.
Starting to play mind games, is he?
He can handle it himself. He's pretty strong in his mind. He's strong in his own ability.
In rallies past, we would have heard Marcus say, well, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Now he just says yes. As soon as the wheels hit the ground, he was off and running again, still in the lead. Saturday night in New Zealand was time for some fun. The Medi-Cal Super Special Stage, a real treat for the rally fans. Let's take a ride with Petter Solberg. Your commentator is the man himself.
Well, actually here I was thinking a little bit. Somebody told me it was very wet, you know, and slippery. I came into the first corner. I locked the brakes a little bit. I just was going like a surfboard on the water there. Here was very, very slippery. Went straight off. But still, you know, I couldn't calm down properly, and I wanted to push more, and it's very, very slippery. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the first run, yeah, definitely. We went off a little bit. I locked the brakes completely, and now we're going off again, out in the ditch. just water planning the whole way. No grip at all. I just kept full throttle. I think also Phil said, you know, keep it, just keep it, and came up again. Still not so bad time, same time as Marcus. So. But actually, I like stages like this, you know, very twisty and very difficult. But this is the worst I ever driven on, I think. Very exciting for the people around there, I think. Second time we won, so that's okay. You know, I calmed down a little bit, so it was a little bit different.
Going into day 3, this is how the leaderboard looks. Marcus Grönholm leads over Burns. Solberg and Loeb and both Skodas are in the points. Will championship leader Richard Burns just do some points racing going into the final day, or will he get greedy and push for more? Stay with us, we're coming right back.
Welcome to day 3 of the Rally of New Zealand. Yesterday was so action-packed. Marcus Grönholm was the lucky man of the rally. He managed to maintain his lead despite rolling his car. Petter Solberg had an up-and-down day. He lost time early on with a puncture and a spin, but he managed to claw his way up the leaderboard after Marco Martin's Focus retired with engine failure. Carlos Sainz left the road and spent 13 minutes trying to find his way back onto the road. And poor old Tommi Mäkinen, what's the guy got to do to win a rally? He was caught speeding by the local cops and booked, and then the organisers slapped a 5-minute penalty on him. So day 3, and with such big gaps between the leading 3 cars of Marcus Grönholm, Richard Burns and Petter Solberg, it's unlikely that leaderboard will change unless something really dramatic happens.
The Maori name for New Zealand is Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. Its wild landscape provides a stunning backdrop for the WRC New Zealand. The third and final day brings 6 more stages, and it all begins in Te Akau. Nikki, what can we expect out here?
This is the first of 2 major stages today. The road conditions, it's dry, it's a hard base with a lot of gravel on top. Those poor old first cars will be really suffering in here. With the fly-through, you can see the character of the road. It's fast and flowing, very similar to others. Not necessarily for the faint-hearted, but classic New Zealand tests. There's some very fast sections and a flat-out piece to a T-junction right at this point. And then generally quick between tighter corners to the finish.
Despite the low clouds this morning, it's dry on the course. The report from inside the stages is that the surface is covered with slippery gravel with a hard base underneath. There's only 10 WRC cars left in the rally, and at 8:23 in the morning, first one out, Carlos Sainz. El Matador is out of the points, but he'll use this opportunity for a Citroen gravel test, something they desperately need, Nikki.
Well, they've not had that much chance to do anything here.
No more brushes with the law for Tommi Mäkinen this morning, and on stage, his average speed was just over 60 miles an hour, and he was only 6th fastest.
I'm sure that poor old Tommy didn't want to drive today.
Marco Martin's unfortunate exit means Ford's campaign is now in the hands of Francois Duval. At just 22, he's the youngest full-time driver in the WRC, and every rally is a big part of his learning curve. Ford's certainly going to be pleased if he finishes this as a good test for him. Mitsubishi's Alistair McRae is poised to finish in the points. Can you believe that, Nikki, with a very slow, less powerful car?
Okay, well, I think he's benefited from the retirements of the quicker cars yesterday, and of course, Tommi Mäkinen's 5 minutes.
The man that Alistair is battling for the points, this one, Tony Gardemeister in his Skoda. Keep in mind, if Tony goes more than 5 seconds faster than Alistair, he'll take over 6th place.
Yeah, he deserves it, but he's not the young and up-and-coming Finn anymore. You've got young Hirvonen at Ford.
He's considerably faster and pushes Alistair down to 7th. Freddie Loix has been complaining that Hyundai's lack of testing has been reflected in the performance of the car. He's back in 5th. If he can stay there, it'll be a great boost for him and the team.
Linda voorlang, om rechts kort aan bocht 50, rechts sluit direct naar 72, links.
Obviously, Citroen had never been to New Zealand before, so Sebastian can hang in here. This will be a great finish for them, a 4th overall.
The guy's got a very bright future.
I think we've got more to come from this guy. Winning on gravel is going to be one of them.
Third place for now belongs to Petter Solberg. And 5 stages separate him from his first podium of the year, and that's just what he needs, Nicky, to get his championship hopes back on track.
Yeah, I spoke to him at the service area before he got into these final group of stages. He said he just wants points.
We've talked a lot about Richard Burns' frustrations with Marcus. He loves New Zealand. He's fast here again, but still not as fast as Marcus.
When he's in a head-to-head with Marcus Grönholm, you just know who's going to finish second.
Marcus certainly does, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
And there he is, the man himself. Magic Marcus Grönholm, as Corrado Provera has called him. Business as usual.
Yeah, concentrating quite hard, but doesn't seem to be trying that hard. And he's just cruising more or less, keeping it nice and clean. He can only lose the rally now. He's got the rally tied up.
And another stage win for Marcus, who has a 1 minute 13-second lead over Richard Burns. Also in the points, Loeb, Freddie Loix, and Alistair McRae in the customer spec Mitsubishi.
Freddie, how was the stage?
Okay. I don't know, drove quite well, but the car was always very sideways on the tight stuff. We don't know exactly why. We couldn't push, we couldn't open the corner because the rear of the car took me like that to the exit, so it was quite difficult. The quick part was a bit better.
Bike fans, this night's for you. You never know who might show up in Greg's garage, so make sure you check out Two Wheel Tuesday on Speed.
Stage 18 is a stage we've used many times in the past. The second of 2 this morning, the first 16 miles, now they're starting this on worn tyres. There's again a massive gravel on the surface. It's going to be very slippery for the leading cars, but I think we can expect the later runners to set the quicker times. Gardemeister's had a big accident in here, and poor old Carlos Sainz has hit a sheep, putting him out of contention for a rally back in '97. Now flat out to the finish, which brings you next to the start.
It's a beautiful sunny Sunday morning, and the crowds can't wait for the cars. Alistair McRae's customer spec Mitsubishi has a less powerful engine than a full spec WRC motor, and it's a real tribute to his talent that he's been setting top 10 times here in New Zealand.
It's come just at the right time. His father's out there trying to sell his services for next year.
Tony Gardemeister made his WRC debut in New Zealand in 1999 and impressed everyone with his third place finish, but it's unlikely he'll be on the podium this year. But this will be the third rally in a row where he's finished in the points. Still trying to get a grip is Freddie Loix. Out of sight of the cameras, the slippery conditions got the better of the Belgian driver. He went off the road and damaged the car so badly, he had to retire.
We have been struggling already all the morning with too much sideways from the car, always stepping out the moment you want to turn in, so it has been already a few times tricky. Not that the speed was so high, not that we overdrove the car, but it was feeling quite dangerous.
At 19 miles, this is the longest stage of the final day, and Sebastian Loeb wasn't enjoying any of it. His automatic gear shift failed, and he had to switch to manual. 2 minutes ahead of the Citroen is Petter Solberg's Subaru. He's taking it easy. He's all too aware that one mistake could result in disaster, and the points are too important. Richard Burns set the fastest time on this stage last year. Nicky, do you think he can beat that here today?
Well, the road conditions are a lot better this year, and he's running a lot further down the field also. Last year it was the first stage of the rally, and he was running in championship order. Now he's 9th car on the road, so I think he can do it.
Plus in long 50, flat left tightens cut and flat left cut opens 80, flat left tightens maybe to flat left 60, flat right minus tightens long.
He did it 7 seconds quicker. Burns throws down the gauntlet to teammate Grönholm. Can the world champ do it? Is that even much of a challenge for him?
Well, I think it's quite difficult. He's only the car behind, but he doesn't have to charge now, when you consider he's just trying to protect his lead.
8 ja vaseri helppo. 8 ja oikea eri maali.
Well, Richard wins that one. Marcus slower, but only by 0.2 of a second. Freddie Loyce is the first casualty of day 3 here in New Zealand, and his retirement means Tommy Mäkinen's back in the points. Nicky, what do you have for us?
Well, from the start line of stage 18, just look how running later on the road improves your grip. Marcus starting the last WRC car gains a second in the first 400 metres. His advantage for being the fastest on day 1.
Petros looking very, very good for a podium now.
Yeah, that was the thing we were aiming for this rally, and we still, with some bad luck yesterday, we are up there again. So I'm happy so far. Yeah.
Should be a very well-deserved second place if all goes to plan.
Yeah, we've still got 4 stages to go, and anything can happen, but if we stay where we are, I'll be very happy.
Marcus, this should be quite an easy second victory of the year for you.
Yeah, but we have to finish there. But it has been quite good run for us.
Have you taken the foot off the gas a bit this morning, or are you still going quick?
No, not maximum anymore. No. It's just now about to stay on the road.
Marcus has said he doesn't like the way the point system is being done this year. He thinks the margin between first and second should be bigger. His team boss agrees.
The new system of points rewards the winning a little bit less than it should be. We wanted to have a wider amount of points distributed among many more teams, but not as a narrow gap between the winning points and the other places.
Well, there's some points available at the end of day 3 towards a championship. Marcus Grönholm would like to take them to the bank. Stay with us. We're coming right back with more of the World Rally Championship from New Zealand. Got a beep? Sound off. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain is your forum. There's been lots of great guests so far, and Nicky, you're going to be one of them.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, but I hope there's no sounding off with me, guys. I'm just a guest. But it's time rallying had some airtime on the show, and I hope it's not the last.
All right, well, make sure you wave that rally banner for us, Nicky. Let's take a look at what makes Marcus Grönholm such an incredible driver.
This guy is never happy when he may go as fast as he can.
Actually, he's a very nice guy also, but he is very, very quick, very impressive.
Few drivers are as fast as Marcus Grönholm, but even the best make mistakes.
Very good!
Marcus is no stranger to winning here. His win in 2000 set up his first world title. After a year that he spent wiping the floor with the opposition, Marcus sealed his second championship bid here in New Zealand in 2002. Marcus is used to winning from the front, and it seems that this year's Rally New Zealand really proves the point.
Feel you can win this rally tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, he seems like quite a character. Not long to go before the 2003 Rally New Zealand is decided. Stages 19 and 20 are next. Carlos Sainz won the last WRC round, which was held in Turkey. Nicky, a very different story here with him 17 minutes behind.
Yeah, Carlos tends to very drive through the year up and down, but the one thing you can guarantee, Ralph, that he's going to be in there with a shout at the championship at the end. He's so reliable generally. But his new co-driver, Mark Marti, has done very, very well. Stepping in the shoes of Lewis Moyer, who'd been with Carlos virtually from the start. The guy has really settled in, and they seem like they've been together for years, Ralph.
I do miss hearing Lewis on the radio, though.
Blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
You know, we've got a new guy now in Mark Marti, although it lacks a little bit of the character of Lewis Moyer. You know, the one incredible thing with this Citroen. It's so quick right from the start. A lot of damage on the car, but still going well. But it's Sebastian Loeb who I think is the star. He's coming amongst two big drivers and he's competitive.
Here's Alistair McRae. Now Mitsubishi has hired away Peugeot's chief development engineer, Mario Fournier. So you might be seeing a lot out of Mitsubishi in the future. Richard Burns in the car at the moment. He's on course to win the stage. Now, Nicky, let's compare McRae to Burns and just see how much slower the Scott is.
Well, okay, the car is a little slower in fairness. I think the Peugeot's a lot easier to drive. You know, it doesn't have as much acceleration, but Alistair does have a good talent, but he's never really shown his talent up against the big guys. You know, this customer spec engine is a lot slower. I spoke to David Senior after the end of the first leg, and he said you could really feel a difference, and they haven't been in the car for such a long time.
3 stage wins in a row for Burns, but no changes of position on the leaderboard. But there's still 12 miles separating the crews from the finish line. As we've already seen, anything can happen. Well, will Magic Marcus just cruise home for the win? We finish up New Zealand when we return. After 3 days of action, the points are about to be decided. Didier Auriol is the first to score. The manufacturer's points he earns are great news for Skoda. It's been an eventful rally for Tommy Mäkinen. His speeding on a road section earned him a hefty fine and a 5-minute time penalty. Still finishing 7th does mean there's 2 points to be added to his account. It's been a worthwhile journey to the other side of the world for Scotland's Alistair McRae. He finishes 6th for 3 points.
50. Well done, son. Well done.
Tony Gardemeister's 5th place is his best of the season so far.
Says, I love you, Sebastian. I love you more. And mine says, I love you the most.
Last year that said, I love you, Nicky, but that's a whole other story. Peter Solberg's fought hard to hang on to 3rd. He came here to wanting points, and he finishes on the podium for the first time this year.
Don't cut 3 right plus.
You know, he just wanted to get some solid points today, and he's done that. And, you know, although he's not right up there with Marcus, he's definitely got his championship on track. And he's certainly one of my favourites, and a great Welsh co-driver as well.
Just throwing that in there, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Well done. Good. Damn good weekend.
Richard Burns takes 2nd, and that's enough to hold on to his championship lead. But Nicky, that's a high-dollar driver who's paid to win, not finish 2nd.
And that's all he seems to be able to do. He's certainly getting some solid points for Peugeot just by finishing, not necessarily winning.
Is that going to hurt him when the contract's up?
It certainly will do.
Richard finished the stage.
Remember, that's up at the end of this year.
Thanks to everybody. Thank you.
The maximum 10 points go to Marcus Grönholm. He's led from start to finish and stamped his authority on this rally. He's going to finish over a minute ahead of the rest of the pack, and I got to believe next round of contracts, his goes up.
Absolutely, and everybody's got to want him.
Is that going to be the toughest thing for Peugeot, to keep him?
Yeah, there was talk that he was possibly going away, but you know, they're not going to lose him now.
It's going to cost them a lot, though, isn't
it? But Peugeot have got the money to do it as well.
That they do. And here's a look at the final results. Grönholm wins over Richard Burns and Peter Solberg. Ford's Francois Duval finished just outside of the points in 9th. Championship race is getting to be a good one. Grönholm's victory puts him 6 points behind the leader, Richard Burns. Sebastian Loeb's up to 3rd. Peter Solberg's also in the running. Pretty tight at the other end, too. Tony Gardemeister's up to 7 points, and Poyce overtake Francois Duval. But at the top, it was all smiles all the way around.
Team Tactics will go for 3rd, and you've done it.
Yeah, that was the plan, and get some points. If we were closer to Richard this morning, like a plan on Friday, I would have been gone for a higher attack today, but for me, it was mainly just to save the 3rd place, get the points, and everybody's happy.
Richard, congratulations. An outstanding drive given your road position on Friday.
Thanks. I always said, like before the rally, if we both had clean runs, then it was going to be really tough to beat Marcus, and we had a little
few little problems yesterday, but I think second place, still leading the championship, and with Colin and Carlos having those problems as well, it's made quite a big difference to us.
Marcus, second win in 2 years here in New Zealand. You've been in a class of your own all rally.
Yeah, it has been a good rally since the start, and no really problems. One small roll, but it was okay. Just that.
The maximum points moves Peugeot into the championship lead in the manufacturers' standings. Great news for Team boss Corrado Rivera.
After 4 rallies, Peugeot is leading the manufacturer championship by 5 points. We are really very satisfied. We are happy also because competition is getting stronger, and the more it will be strong, the more we'll have to work and keeping the pace we have. So we are very proud and proud for the whole team. Very happy and looking forward to Argentina in 1 month.
So Nicky and I were both right. Marcus Gronholm took the win, but he was lucky to get away with that roll, wasn't he?
Absolutely. He doesn't like to be called lucky, but he admitted it himself this morning.
Teammate Richard Burns, can we say that he really can't match Marcus's pace unless Marcus is backing off to take that win?
That's for sure. He's driven solidly, but he just doesn't have the pace. This could be the story for the rest of the year.
Petter Solberg took third place. He was told to go out and get some points. He's brought them home, but was it a good drive?
He felt he could have pulled off a better result, but his tyre problems on day 2 really cost him. But he said this morning he just wants to start his championship, and he's done that. He's got some solid points.
Absolutely, and he did look pretty chuffed. It's still his best result ever in New Zealand. But for me, the most exciting part of the rally, the really good bit, was watching Marco Martin in that brand new Ford Focus taking stage wins the first time out.
I think so. He drove exceptionally well. The team were happy, although disappointed when he returned. We've seen it now on gravel, and I think it's going to be an even better car on tarmac.
Well, it's been a fantastic rally of New Zealand, but we'll be back in a few weeks' time when we move to South America for round 5 of the World Rally Championship and the Rally of Argentina.
That's right, guys. WRC Argentina is a spectacular event. Water splashes, high-speed crashes, jumps, and bumps. You can catch Speed's exclusive coverage on Tuesday, May 13th, beginning with Rally XS, and then the rally itself Thursday, May 15th. Don't forget, before then, we'll have another Rally XS special Tuesday, April 29th. Before we go today, we can't forget the winner, the Inmarsat Star of the Rally Award, chosen, of course, by Nicky Grist.
With a hat-trick of stage wins, the brand new and radical Ford Focus WRC03 has been a revelation in the hands of Marco Martin. A few teething problems were to be expected, but the performance during the event indicates a great season ahead for the car and team. Therefore, the award for New Zealand goes to Christian Loriot, Technical Director of Ford Rally Sport, and his team of engineers, who accept the trophy and a cheque for $5,000 to give to their favourite charity. Well done to you all at Dovenby Hall.
Well, as Peugeot celebrates their 1-2 finish here in New Zealand, Nicky, I got to ask you, since we don't see you that often, any word on a possible rally round to the WRC here in the States?
I think so. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of organisers meeting with the ISC. I certainly hope there's a round of the WRC here, as I'm sure all the fans are too.
No doubt about it, Nicky. We'd love to see it here in the States. Okay, we're headed off to Argentina now, round 5. What do you expect from there?
Well, now we're into some proper rallies. All the drivers know exactly what the event's going to throw at them, and it's the championship really is going to start right here.
All right, well, Nicky, thanks for joining us here. Thanks to Penny Mallory as well, and most importantly, thanks for my WRC hat, man. I'm going to wear that one proudly. I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Rally of New Zealand.